Good morning. This is Akashvani. I'm Anuja Kumar with the World News. The headlines. India and Malaysia reaffirmed their commitment to strengthen cooperation against terrorism and transnational crime. ADB raises growth forecast for India to 7.2%, up from 6.5% for financial year 2025-26. US expands online presence checks for H-1B visa applicants. US Federal Reserve cuts its benchmark interest rate by 0.25 percentage points. And in men's cricket, second T20 between India and South Africa to be played in New Chandigarh this evening. And now the news in detail. India and Malaysia have reaffirmed their commitment to strengthen cooperation against terrorism and transnational crime. In a joint statement, the Ministry of External Affairs said that during the third meeting of the India-Malaysia Joint Working Group on Counter-Terrorism and Combating Transnational Crime in New Delhi, the two sides exchanged views on the regional and global terrorism landscape. A report.
The meeting was co-chaired by Vinod Bahari, Joint Secretary for Counter-Terrorism at India's MEA, and Mohammad Azlan bin Razali, Under-Secretary at Malaysia's Ministry of Home Affairs. Both sides condemned terrorism in all its forms and manifestations and emphasized the need to strengthen international cooperation to combat terrorism in a comprehensive and sustained manner. They also reaffirmed their commitment to enhancing cooperation in multilateral fora, including the United Nations, Financial Action Task Force, Asia-Pacific Group on Money Laundering, and ASEAN Regional Forum. As part of the engagement, the Malaysian delegation will visit the National Security Guard headquarters today to explore avenues for bilateral capacity building measures. India and Malaysia also agreed to hold the next round of joint working group discussions in Kuala Lumpur at a mutually convenient date. Subhadra Ramachandran, Akashvani World News.
The Asian Development Bank ADB has raised its growth forecast for India to 7.2%, up from 6.5% for the financial year 2025-26, according to its Asia and Pacific Growth Outlook report. This marks an increase of 0.7 percentage points after the country registered a robust growth in the July to September quarter and prospects for a stronger fiscal year. However, the Multilateral Development Bank has kept its financial year 2026-27 forecast unchanged at 6.5%. ADB has projected the region's economy to expand by 5.1% this year, compared with a 4.8% forecast in September, lifted by stronger than expected growth in India. The United States has expanded its review of social media and online presence to include all H-1B specialty occupation workers and their H-4 dependents, said the U.S. Embassy in India. The announcement follows a recent decision by the Trump administration to make social media screening mandatory for all H-1B and H-4 applicants, creating fresh uncertainty for thousands of workers and their families. Starting December 15, the Department of State will expand the requirement that an online presence review be conducted for all H-1B applicants and their dependents, in addition to the students and exchange visitors already subject to this review. To facilitate this vetting, all applicants for H-1B and their dependents H-4, F, M and J non-immigrant visas are instructed to adjust the privacy settings on all their social media profiles to public. The embassy noted that each application undergoes a detailed security review. The U.S. Federal Reserve has cut its benchmark interest rate by 0.25 percentage points, bringing the federal funds rate to its lowest level since early 2022. The new target range now stands at 3.5 to 3.75%, down from 3.75 to 4%. This is the Fed's third consecutive rate cut since September, totaling a 0.75 percentage point reduction this year. The move comes amid slowing job growth and persistent inflation, despite delays in key economic data due to the recent government shutdown. The Federal Open Market Committee said it will carefully assess incoming data and risks before making further adjustments. officials forecast inflation measured by the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index to ease to 2.4% in 2026, while economic growth is expected to rise to 2.3% and unemployment to remain at 4.4%. The Mazgaon Docks Shipbuilders Limited (MDL) Mumbai yesterday announced the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding with the Indian Navy and the Brazilian Navy at Brasilia, Brazil, to strengthen cooperation in the maintenance of Scorpene-class submarines and other naval ships, marking a significant milestone in India-Brazil defence collaboration. The tripartite MOU signed on 9th of December 2025 establishes a comprehensive framework for exchange of technical information, maintenance philosophies, industrial practices, spare parts support, and personnel training aimed at enhancing operational availability and life cycle support for Scorpene-class platforms operated by both India and Brazil. The MOU was signed by Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi, the Chief of the Naval Staff, Indian Navy, representatives of the Brazilian Navy, and Captain Jagmohan, Chairman and Managing Director, Mazgaon Docks Shipbuilders Limited. The parties reaffirmed that the agreement would deepen defence ties, enhance submarine readiness, and support mutual strategic interests in the maritime domain. The MOU is valid for 10 years from the date of signing. This is Akashvani. You are listening to World News. We bring you the top international news and updates from around the globe. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado appeared in public for the first time in 11 months when she waved to the supporters at a hotel in Norway's capital in the morning today, hours after her daughter accepted the Nobel Peace Prize on her behalf yesterday. Machado, winner of this year's Nobel Peace Prize, has been in hiding and hasn't been seen in public when she was briefly detained after joining supporters in a protest early this year in Caracas, Venezuela's capital. The United States has seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela yesterday as tensions mount with the government of President Nicolas Maduro. President Donald Trump told reporters at the White House that a large oil tanker on the coast of Venezuela, seized with good reason, spoke on the condition of anonymity. A U.S. official said that the seizure was led by the U.S. Coast Guard and supported by the Navy. And in sports, in men's cricket, India will face South Africa in the second T20 match of the series at the Maharaja Yadwendra Singh International Cricket Stadium in Mullapur, New Chandigarh today. The match will begin at 7 p.m. Indian time. This will be the first men's international cricket match in Mullapur. Surya Kumar Yadav-led men in blue are currently leading the 5-match series 1-0, following a massive win over the visitors in the series opener on Tuesday. In the Squash World Cup 2025, Australia, Egypt and South Africa fought back to register victories in the pool stage on the second day of the tournament in Chennai yesterday. Australia overcame an early setback to beat Poland 3-1 in their Pool C match. The team had a difficult start when their women's second-string player, Madison Leon, was unable to compete, giving Poland's Sofia Zarashkova a walkover. But Australia bounced back strongly to win the remaining matches and seal the tie. In the FIH Men's Junior Hockey World Cup final, defending champions Germany reclaimed their 8th title, defeating Spain 3-2 in a shootout after the match ended 1-1 in regulation time in Chennai last night. Germany opened the scoring in the 26th minute by Justus Warweg. Spain equalized in the 33rd minute from Nicolas Mustaros. And now, before we close, here are the highlights of the bulletin. India and Malaysia reaffirmed their commitment to strengthen cooperation against terrorism and transnational crime. ADB raises growth forecast for India to 7.2%, up from 6.5% for financial year 2025-26. US expands online presence checks for H-1B visa applicants. US Federal Reserve cuts its benchmark interest rate by 0.25 percentage points. And in men's cricket, second T20 between India and South Africa to be played in New Chandigarh this evening. And that is the end of this news bulletin.